Meeting to order of the Oxford Historic Preservation Commission. Luke, I know you are joining us virtually. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good. Glad to have you here. I'll call the meeting to order, and the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion that we approve it?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second for the agenda? Second. All in favor say aye.
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 The motion carries. Next item is approval of the minutes from the August 18th, 2025 meeting. We've all received a copy of those minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? If not, is there a motion that we approve the minutes from the August 18th meeting?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is staff report. Kate, do we have a staff report?
Nothing, just to thank, she's not here tonight, but Rachel Malone West went to Archives and History training, so we can remain in compliance with Archives and History this year, so we appreciate her.
Great. And Kate, we're glad to have you back. And I hear a report that young Rivers is doing well, so congratulations and welcome back.
Yep, she's a good baby.
Good. We'll move into our public hearings at this point. The first one is case number 812, COA requested by Turnbow Properties, Inc., Guy Turnbow, for demolition of an outbuilding located at 1413 Fillmore Avenue.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks. The applicant seeks approval to demolish an existing outbuilding. They are not requesting to build a new shed in its place, so sorry, that was a mistake in your staff report. The existing building is not described or dated in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey. It's a one-story wood gable building that sits at the end of the existing driveway. And the applicant provided photos of the existing building condition. I put the criteria to consider for demolition in your staff report. When considering the demolition of a landmark or resource within a residentially zoned district, the commission must consider the individual architectural, cultural, and/or historical significance of the resource. Commission shall consider the importance or contribution of the resource to the architectural character of the district. The commission shall consider the importance or contribution of the resource to neighboring property values. The commission shall consider the difficulty or impossibility of reproducing such a resource. The applicant does not plan to build a new building in place of the existing shed. Due to the existing grades on the site, a fall fence is necessary, the plans for which are included with this report. They're proposing a new wood and metal fence at the impacted corner. Some of the fence is going to be fully wood panel, essentially a privacy fence, and then as it gets closer to the street, it's going to be basically a metal picket fencing. Another key factor here is that the existing building was determined to be partially located on the adjacent property, so the demolition of the outbuilding would remedy this problem. Staff finds this demolition acceptable as the building is not a contributing resource and is also recommending approval of the proposed new fencing. I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have about the staff report.
Thank you, Kate. And is someone here representing the homeowner? Could you identify yourself?
You need me to come forward, please? Thank you.
Thank you. If you would identify yourself, and we just ask you to come forward in the event, the podium would be a good place, in the event anybody has any questions of you directly.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And your name is?
I'm a little hard of hearing, but
Me too, so we can shout back and forth. What's your name?
Thomas Fitts, F-I-T-T-S.
Welcome. We've heard the case presented by Kate and the recommendations by the staff. Are there questions from any of the commissioners?
About how tall is that opening on the garage? Pretty low, isn't it?
It is just high enough to get a 68 Cadillac in there, which was what was in there when we began this project, but it actually started moving, and with all the new construction, the backside has been undermined by water flow from the new buildings in behind it. And then when they were taking down some of the trees next door, they struck it again. So we had to prop it up. Otherwise, it would have gone down by itself. Actually, the opening there is approximately 9 feet. It's 8 feet, 7 or 8. The doors that were on there, we have taken off. We're gonna move them to another similar location in Oxford and put them on a garage that's open. That garage, when it was built, and it wasn't built at the same time the house was, it was added later, had these doors moved from 1012 University Avenue down and placed on that door. The same owners actually owned and lived in the house at 1012, and they moved them down there, so it's not very much original that's existing today.
Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners? The staff has recommended approval of the shed. It's not a contributing resource. And they are also approving the new fencing that is being requested. I think perhaps this is two different motions. The first one would be to approve the request to demolish the existing shed. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the demolition of the shed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That motion is approved. The second one would be to approve the new proposed fencing. And the staff has also recommended approval of that fencing. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second to approve the new fencing?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the new fence as proposed, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you.
Next case is case 835, COA requested by Joel Lyons. I'm sorry?
That one's actually postponed.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Should have read ahead a bit. Next case is number 838, COA requested by Donnie and Elizabeth Malmo for new windows and new door located at 1588 Buchanan Avenue. Kate?
The applicant requests retroactive approval for the removal and replacement of all existing windows and for approval to replace the front door. Staff was informed in mid-August that the existing windows on the home were removed without the approval of this commission or with the necessary permits. 1588 Buchanan Avenue is listed as contributing in the South Lamar Historic District and is described in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey as a one-story, 5-bay frame center hall cottage with colonial revival influence built circa 1935. The proposed replacement of historic windows is not consistent with the Historic District Design Guidelines, which direct that every effort should be made to preserve historic windows and to repair and restore them rather than replacing with modern windows. Staff informed the contractor that they should retain the removed windows until the hearing and the decision of the commission. A letter from the applicant was provided, which was included with your packet, noting that the windows were removed in error and then the applicant was not aware of the Historic District requirements though the applicant's contractor has previously worked in the historic district. The proposed windows are aluminum clad, and staff believes they do replicate the existing windows adequately should the replacement be approved. Aluminum clad replacement windows are addressed in the design guidelines, noting that aluminum clad or other substitute materials may be considered only when the use of original material is not feasible, and when the substitute product closely replicates the historic appearance. Staff does not have any issues with the proposed door replacement. The existing door is not original, and the proposed replacement of wood 4-panel door is appropriate for the building's colonial revival style. Staff is requesting guidance from the commission on how to move forward in this instance. I included the enforcement and penalties provision of the Historic Preservation Code with your report, which addresses both civil and criminal penalties. Any civil and criminal penalties are not determined directly by the commission, but by the court. So the options, if staff sees it, are as follows. 1, that the applicant would reinstall and restore the original windows. 2, that the applicant would be approved to install the new windows, which are existing currently on the house. Or 3, that some combination of the old and new windows would be approved, which the commission has done that in the past. Maybe the side and rear replaced, but not the front, etc. Staff also requests guidance from the commission about whether to impose the enforcement and penalties provision, which would include a citation to the homeowner. So that was a lot to take in, but the recommendation is that we're requesting guidance regarding the violation of the historic district requirements, that if the commission chooses to approve the window replacement, staff finds that the proposed windows are an adequate match to the existing windows.
Sorry, an adequate or an inadequate?
They are adequate.
All right.
Yep. They're, you know, we have approved aluminum clad replacement windows before, and the light pattern and profile is close enough to the existing windows that should replacement be we're not recommending a different replacement window if replacements are approved. No. Would the applicant like to see?
If you gentlemen would come to the podium and introduce yourselves, please.
Hello, I'm Donnie Malmo.
Jim Williams.
And
I'm with RKA Construction.
the contractor.
And I do want to make a note. My wife is an interior designer, so she sometimes works as a partial contractor back in Memphis. And RKA did install the windows, but they were way after she had already purchased them. It was not, they were not at fault for not filing.
Well, we have read the well-written letter from you and your wife, and appreciate that, explaining circumstances. In this case, a little bit convoluted just because of all the things that Kate mentioned just now. Windows replaced with new windows that are, in fact, they do match the original windows without permission and a violation by doing that. I'm curious, do you still have the original windows? I know you were asked to keep them.
We do. I don't know what kind of shape they're in, but we've got most of them.
Yeah. I think the commissioners, of course, need to ask any questions that they will have. Our job is to consider the windows. One option I think that Kate mentioned is if the original windows are salvageable, to require that they be put back in. That's one option. The other is to approve the new retro approval of the new windows, and then we need to consider how to deal with the violation. Should we exercise the penalty option or not? So it's these are just steps that we have to go through to do this correctly. So I open the floor for any comments about any of those things that have been mentioned.
I think that when you move into a historic district, it really behooves you to know what you're getting into before you do something as dramatic as replace all the windows with aluminum clad windows. And I also feel that just approving the aluminum clad windows outright sets a bad precedent for the commission.
Thank you. I think this is a case where we need to have as much conversation as possible.
Maybe we could start off by saying, we've approved other windows on the sides and in the backs of the house quite often, so that could be a starting point where we say that all the windows not in the front are fine, and then we can have a discussion about the windows in the front.
I agree with that. I would say that the windows not visible from the street view could remain, and then the windows that are, the wood windows that you have should be assessed and repairs made to those windows for anything that's visible from the street.
Good points.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Looking at the windows, the muntins, the light configuration, all that, probably something we would have approved without any hesitation, I think. They look appropriate. Yeah, they're clad, but as is often the case, can't tell. And everything I'm saying is also based on, whether or not the old windows are in restorable shape.
Yeah.
Which we don't know. We don't have that information. If they're rotten and in terrible shape, I know they're inefficient without even asking. I know they're probably single pane, certainly, but not knowing that, it's hard to proceed past that point.
Can you respond to the condition of the original windows? And I suppose at this point, the conversation is sort of narrowed. We're not asking about every one of the windows. We're asking about enough of the windows to cover the front, the facade of the house.
And then, I'm sorry, I do have one question about the front windows. It looks like the bay window may have been, was that a replacement window before you changed it out? Or was the bay window original?
You mean, did we install the bay window itself?
No, like in looking at the original picture, I can't tell if that's
Yeah,
like
that's,
even an
that's
original
a,
window, or is that a replacement window?
I
Did you-
believe the bay window was added, is not original.
Okay.
The inventory survey notes it is added.
So we wouldn't ask them to replace a window.
So you're really looking at,
So they could replace a window that
sure.
is not original.
So you're really looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 windows, right?
You're looking at both sides of the door and then the two.
Paired windows on the left.
And that's not to say that some of the windows that were in the back potentially could be used in the front.
Yeah, that's a point that I agree with. Yeah. Can you respond?
I
to
would,
the
yeah, I would
condition?
need to get with our superintendent to see if any of the windows are salvageable, because when we demo the windows, there's not as much care taken as taking them out as there is installing them. So I'm not sure what that physical condition is of the windows.
Have you worked on historical in the historic districts before? Done work?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we have.
Were you familiar with the window sensitivity?
I was familiar. We also got called like 2 weeks before the windows were delivered. We weren't part of the process. We were just asked to come install them. So
Yeah.
what we've learned is we will ask, whenever someone tries to, incorporate us into their project, we'll ask, all the proper questions.
But you didn't mention to the homeowner your experience.
Oh, yes, sir. They know of our experience. We've worked with them in Memphis.
No, I meant your experience in historic districts in Oxford.
No, sir. Not that I know of.
Any other comments? Well, why don't we address Jimmy's thinking of the replacement of the front side of the house with original windows, assuming that out of the entire lot of windows, there would be, is it 4? That would be workable. So I would ask the commission, Jimmy, do you want to make that in the form of a motion?
All right, so,
Also, don't forget the front door replacement,
Pardon?
the front door replacement as well.
Yes, we didn't seem to have any issues with the front door.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if there's a motion that's
Yeah,
included.
okay, one motion to address it all.
okay, so I move to approve the bay window replacement and the windows on the sides and in the rear of the house as they were, or I guess retroactively approve the replacement of all the windows, not in the front except for the bay window, and also except for the door. Maybe that's too roundabout.
Does everybody understand the motion?
That's a bad motion.
So is the new door approved in that motion or no?
Yeah, the new
It's
doors
in,
are
it's in there.
pretty-
You've heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. More discussion. Or
Is that
question?
motion qualified by determining the condition of the windows once they're, did you say that? I'm
No,
sorry.
no, we're just,
I mean, if you,
we're just approving all the windows except for the
I see,
front.
I see, okay,
And then I guess that's a second.
I got you.
How would you like to see this packaged?
It was my understanding from your discussion that the windows would be evaluated, all of the windows that were removed from the building, and 4 original windows would be installed into the front. And I would assume that if they're found to be not salvageable, the applicant would return with that information, and the commission could go from there.
Okay, so there's one motion for everything then.
Yeah, is that? That's what it sounded like to me.
Any other comments or questions about the motion with the second?
Is the condition of those, just one more question, condition of those windows something they could take to Kate, as opposed to having to bring back to us?
Yeah.
They determine whether or not they need to come back to us or not.
What would be the options?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's the question.
And just, I'm not saying this to make waves, but after we do this, we will consider the penalty, and if there's any way that we need to address that. You've heard the motion. There's a motion and a second. All in favor of approving it, say aye. Aye. Are there any that do not approve? The motion, as we have reconfigured it, has passed. Now, the other issue that we need to address is the violation of doing this without a permit. I think we've all read in the information from the city what that could be, a fine of up to $1,000 a day, civil penalties and so forth. I think the vote here would just be a yes or no vote.
Right, because it would actually be determined by the courts. You're voting essentially whether or not to cite.
Well, exactly. We have nothing to do with the particular fines, but I think the motion that we need is whether or not whether or not this commission has a desire to cite the homeowner for the violation.
Would that depend on if the windows are being, if they'll be able to replace the front windows with the original windows?
I said it was going to be a convoluted conversation. Opinions. What are the
I think
opinions?
it's two different issues.
Yeah. I think, we don't need to divide it up into what will happen on the front, because that'll be another decision that we'll make. I think it's just for the action that was taken, regardless of front or sides. Would you agree? Would the city agree? Yes. Yeah. So I would ask, is there a motion one way or the other to cite the homeowner or not cite?
Do you mind if I make a few comments? You were soliciting some comments. This is not something that we have happen that often.
Right.
Which is why we like to provide some deference to the commission to be able to at least help us in making this decision. I think it's in this instance, while being in a historic district, I think, many folks that live here and deal with it on a regular basis, they know that they're in a historic district and that there's a process. It seemed like there was certainly some confusion in this instance with the conversations that the homeowners did have with neighboring, and I do believe, based on the conversations that I've had with them, that they thought that they were entitled to replace them when it wasn't necessarily the case. So there was a little bit of confusion there. And to your question about RKA and Jim, they were doing some work over on the old My Favorite Shoes building, and he reached out to the chairman of the Courthouse Preservation Commission to talk to him about the paint color that they were choosing, and he stopped by our office, and we had a visit about the paint color that was going there. We don't regulate paint color, so I do believe that they, RK tries to do right in working with historic districts. So it's food for thought. I'm probably made it a little bit more complicated for you, but I think it's important information in there.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's important information too, and I'm not calling for this because I'm looking for retribution. I think it's just something that we have to do because it's been presented as part of the case and recommended by the staff that we address it. So I'm simply asking that we do what you have asked. So is there a motion, and I think we could have a motion, yes, cite, or no, do not cite. So that would just kind of resolve this part of the case.
I would move that we do not cite.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second that this commission does not cite the homeowner for this. And again, I would say the letter and your explanation, we understand all that. We are required to go through these steps that we're going through. Motion and second, is there any other comment from any other commissioner? If not, all in favor of not citing the homeowner, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all. I'm very sorry for this.
Well, we know
It
that.
won't happen again.
No,
I promise.
we understand that, but, our charge is just to follow the guidelines to do what we are asked to do, but thank you.
Can I follow up real quick
Sure.
regarding the windows? Should we talk to Kate? Okay.
Kate will be your guide, and they have asked that it come back to us, and we'll move as expeditiously as we possibly can.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one. Next case is case 839 Marvin Smith, 515 North 14th Street, and Virginia has asked to be recused.
Okay. The applicant requests approval to install a new railing and side stair onto the existing front porch. The new railing would be painted wood and 34 inches tall, and the new stair would be painted brick. 515 North 14th Street is described in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey as a circa 1920 one-story, three-bay, frame with brick veneer craftsman bungalow. We've seen this property several times come before the commission. But we're normally dealing with the side and rear where there's extensive additions. So right now, we're normally seeing the other side of the building, not this front that faces North 14th Street. Or faces, sorry, I don't, yeah, okay, yeah. Front porches are defining elements of craftsman buildings, and in particular craftsman bungalows. Craftsman porches commonly stretch across the full front facade and often feature brick piers, overhanging eaves, and exposed beams and rafter tails like the front porch seen here. The Oxford Design Guidelines note that front porches are considered dominant architectural features and recommend against making changes to historic front porches, except for necessary repair and kind replacement. However, the guidelines also note that railings may be needed to meet current codes. Staff does not support the addition of this railing as an aesthetic enhancement to the building. However, the commission may view the applicant's request, which notes the need for a railing to protect the applicant's young grandchildren, as a reason to approve a new railing against the recommendations of the guidelines. So I believe Jonathan is here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you, Kate. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. It's pretty straightforward. I would say that the homeowner's preference for the railing would be for something much more decorative, but our compromise and my recommendation to them was to keep the detailing of the railing very simple, because that's most appropriate in the craftsman style. And there are a lot of examples of porches with railings. This one is not quite high enough off the ground to be required by code, but if it were about 5 inches higher up, we'd be required to put this on there. The railing in the image on the bottom left is directly across Washington. So when sitting on this porch, you're looking at that porch, which has a railing. And there are many of other examples. It was originally the front of the house. Through additions and reworking prior to us ever being involved, the house was really refronted onto Washington. That's where the front door is. They do sit out on this porch, but it leads into a bedroom. And so they've been wanting to put a railing on it for some time, and just really getting around to doing it now that they're really wrapping up on the other addition, which we were involved in, the conversion of the carport into the garage.
Kate, since Jonathan is referring to the house across the street, do you have any comments? Is it the same style craftsman house, or?
It's a new house.
Pardon?
It's a new house. It's not a craftsman bungalow.
So the two really aren't similar.
They're both front porches with railings.
Yeah,
Other than having.
fair enough.
Having
It
front
seems
porch.
like, when I drove by today and looked at it real closely, hydrangeas are just about going to hide, they're even bigger than it seems like in that picture. I don't know when it was taken, but anyway, they're to the point that you're hardly going to see it. It's white, just like the house, and they want to protect their grandkids. To me, it's a no-brainer, but that's my personal opinion.
The side rail reference, which is the second image on the bottom right, is the Tatum property on North Lamar. It's a similar sort of era and style house. So that's very similar to how the side exit would be on the porch. They don't have a railing around their whole porch, but they do have a railing on their stairs.
Your point's well taken about not proposing a decorative railing. I think
Yeah.
that would be a definite no. But this is similar in style.
It's about as plain as I could figure out how to make it.
Yeah.
It's appropriate for a house of that style to have a railing. This one just happens to not have a railing.
I wouldn't say that traditionally all craftsman bungalows had a front railing.
But they could.
No, I wouldn't say that this house would have had a front railing.
Other questions, comments? You know, that could be a temporary solution if it's concerned for the grandkids, you know, temporary fencing, you know, dog, whatever, that you could put there while the grandkids are young.
Sometimes they just keep on coming.
Well, that's true. You got to have a guarantee that you're done with grandkids.
Every 2 years, you never know.
Any other concerns about approval of this COA?
I mean, so really, the front of the house is on Washington, so this is kind of the side of the house.
It still fronts a street, but true, the functional front of the house is Washington.
And, yeah,
But to your point, Jack, I think, you know, it is facing a street, so that's why they want to do something that's nice and,
Yeah.
you know, substantial.
In looking at the picture of the existing house, I was trying to figure out how, I know you're suggesting the steps on the side. Are there steps on the other side?
No,
How does a person get onto that?
there are not steps at the moment.
So they've never been able to go in the front door?
A while ago, when the house was reoriented to Washington, those steps were removed because instead they go to a bedroom. So that was to prevent deliveries and people from coming to that bedroom door. The original steps, which were in the center, I guess, of that porch, they're gone. So these are also secondary to the side, not inviting someone to come there.
luckily, there's no sidewalk leading up to that house. either.
No sidewalk.
On that side.
There wasn't a sidewalk to the front door either, but we rectified that with you guys last year, and so that's recently been implemented.
Are there any other concerns or observations from commissioners?
Well, it seems like we should approve steps on the porch, going from the porch to the ground, because it really is unsafe to not be able to like step down on the porch. So you really do need either railings or a step. If you
Well, yeah, when I looked at it, I thought, well, how have they?
But it had steps in it, did it not? You not say side steps?
We're adding steps, yes.
Yeah, so the
No,
steps
but it
really do
doesn't
need,
have any now.
the steps need to be added, and if the steps are added, then you need some kind of railing.
Yes.
So,
It would be more than three, it will be more than three steps, which would require railing.
Is there a motion to approve this COA?
so
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I don't think so. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next case, case number 840, Joel Lyons. This is changes to a previously approved, let me read from the agenda. Requested by Joel Lyons for changes to previously approved COA located at 1701 East Jackson Avenue.
Okay, thanks. So this is a request for approval to changes to a previously approved pool house. So it's a separate building from the existing Shaw House. You can see the footprint of it in the top right corner of that site plan. The pool house and pool were approved in January of 2025. At the time, the pool house was unanimously approved by the commission. And according to the guidelines, the new building, which will not extend beyond the line created by the fronts of existing buildings, will be subordinate in height and form to the main structure. The materials, brick, asphalt shingle, siding, et cetera, are complementary to the existing Shaw House, including the new additions. Those proposed materials have not changed. What has changed are some of the windows on each elevation, and there's a higher roof line proposed in the eastern portion of the building. Staff does not believe that these changes have altered the compatibility of the proposed new outbuilding with the existing main building. The location, size, design, and form, as well as materials and details, are still compatible with the main building, and in particular with the addition.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
if we could stop the slides where we see the difference, I suppose, in what we had approved and what is requested now. Is that what this comparison is?
This is all four elevations of the new building. So what has changed are the windows. And then if you see, I can't read that closely, but in the top right, you can see that massing on the right side was 1 story previously, and it's taller now due to the programming on the inside. But staff believes that this new outbuilding will remain secondary in prominence to the main house and is recommending approval of the COA.
Thank you.
But we do have the existing, or the previously approved plans in the packet as well. And then the homeowner is here, if anyone has questions for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please come forward. Thank you for coming. If you would introduce yourself, please, ma'am, for the record.
Sure, I'm Lindsay Lyons, Jules' better half. We changed 3 windows. On,
You want me to go back to site plan?
this is fine, right? Either one. Top left, those 3 windows were slightly larger. Furthest to the left is over a vanity, and so that changed in size. Then the next one is at a shower, and the next one is at a kitchen sink. So that's why those changed. And then 1 window was removed on the bottom right, next to in the middle section where those doors are. There's a laundry space, and the window conflicted with the laundry layout. So that was removed, and the doors were slightly adjusted for his office layout in there, and the ceiling height as well.
Thank you. The
questions?
staff is agreeing with the proposals in the new COA. Do any commissioners have any observations or concerns about the current COA? If not, is there a motion to approve the COA as presented, number 840?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? If not, all in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you for coming in, Ms. Lyons.
Thank you. You scared me on that first one. When you called him for the other one, I was like, I'm not prepared to talk on that. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last case, I believe Virginia is going to recuse herself again. Virginia, thank you. This is for Rachel Malone West at 512 North 14th Street. Request for exterior renovations to existing structure at that address. Okay.
Thanks, Jack. So the applicant seeks approval for exterior changes, which are primarily located to the south and rear elevations. The house is described in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey as a circa 1890, 1-story, 4-bay frame with vinyl siding, Queen Anne composite cottage. The changes proposed are kept mostly to the already altered areas of the building. I've put in the applicant describing the changes as well as references from the design guidelines. Proposed exterior modifications include adding a window at the end of a wraparound porch, replacing a non-original side door and flanking windows with a wide sliding door unit, removing non-original roof pop-ups, replacing the existing non-original metal shingle roof with a similar metal shingle, and revising the rear elevation by shifting the rear-facing gable and raising the plate height of the back bedroom to match the rhythm of the other gable ends without altering the house footprint. Regarding relocating the proposed window to the front elevation. The design guidelines allow new windows on secondary or less visible elevations if they're compatible in size and placement. This proposed location is recessed back from the front facade, and staff believes that the impact to the front facade is minimal and recommends approval of this change. On the south elevation, the request is to replace a non-original side door and windows with new sliding doors and to add a new window. These proposed changes are on an area of the side porch which has been infilled. The proposed new doors and windows are appropriate in style and due to their location will not be visible to the public. Staff is recommending approval of this change. On the rear elevation, the proposal is to shift the location of the gable and raise the plate height of the back bedroom, replace an existing rear door with new double doors with a side light and transom. The guidelines require that new work is placed on non-character defining elevations and that it's compatible in rhythm, proportion, and roof form while remaining clearly subordinate to the original massing. The proposed gable will remain subordinate to the main side gable roof form and will not be visible. The existing single rear door is appropriate for a secondary elevation and simple in nature. The new rear door with side lights and transom are more high style than would normally be recommended for a secondary facade. However, they'll be installed into an addition and it is not visible to the rest of the district. So staff is recommending approval of those changes as well. And regarding the removal of the roof pop-ups, the design guidelines encourage the removal of inappropriate non-historic additions, and this work directly meets that recommendation. So staff is recommending approval of the COA with a condition that a window and door schedule is provided and approved by staff prior to permitting, which that's pretty common. We just check to make sure the new windows and doors meet the design guidelines, which I'm sure Jonathan will spec appropriately. So, and Jonathan's here on behalf of that.
Jonathan is representing this case as well. You know, for me, this house is one of the sort of quintessential Oxford houses. You know, that when I think of a historic district, I know we've got all kind of variations, but this is one that I think is very special. Any questions for Jonathan or comments about the COA?
Thank you for removing the pop-ups.
Yeah.
They were added 25 years ago or something. I remember what it was like. Before that, it was much.
They're peculiar.
They are peculiar.
Yeah, that'll be a great improvement.
Were they for light or what was the?
I think they were ventilation.
There's stuff in some of them. It's not light, even though some of them have windows in it, because they only go into the attic, but it's peculiar. This house has had a lot of changes through its history. Tom Haworth told me the other day he actually lived in it when he first came back to Oxford, and it was divided into apartments. So it's had various things done to it over the years, but the window that we're moving into the wraparound porch is actually coming from the side where we're taking that out, so it's really just relocating that window. The new window we will have is in the back of the house, that small one where we're changing out what's a steel door that's going to now be into a bathroom with that small window adjacent to the relocated gable. The new gable in the bedroom is at the end, which is where every other gable happens to be. The only one that's in the middle of a mass is that one on the rear as it is. So sort of more true to the formula of the way the gables were placed.
All these things appear to be improvements and appropriate improvements. Any other comments? If not, all in favor of approving? I'm sorry?
We need a motion.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry. I need a motion for approval for case 841.
So moved.
It's a motion to approve. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor of approval, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The COA is approved. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
That concludes the cases, public cases. Any other business any commissioner would like to present? If not, is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.